There's no doubt. David Platt, very relaxed. Only lost 6-4 to Michael van Gerwen in the World Series event in Perth. Has the darts and has a chance. We shall see.
Well, interesting, Steve. For the second match running, it's a qualifier that's won the bullseye to throw first. But as you said, Stephen's under a lot of pressure here. Let's not forget, there's the top 8 ranked players of the World Series. And that's not to say that the 8 seeds of professionals are going to be those top 8. And Stephen being at the bottom, if he loses here, he's going into Auckland with an awful lot of pressure on his shoulders. And David Platt, of course, Michael van Gerwen was on 120 average at one time against David last week. But David was still in there. He's still, well, grit and determination. Got him the 4 legs.
Yeah, he was also perfect on the doubles. 4 out of 4. It was really, really good. Disappointing. So Bunting looks like he's stolen the darts in the opening leg.
94.
David Platt, who emigrated to Australia 10 years or so ago, lives in Perth, painter and decorator by trade.
59.
Still plays a lot of darts around Australia. You would love to claim a big scalp on this stage. Bit of darting trivia. David Platt and Rod Harrington, isn't there?
Yeah, well, we won't talk about too much on that side of things, I don't think, Stuart.
We will. To see what Stephen Bunting can do here. Oh, great chance here. Tops he needs. Great darts. Great start, Stephen Bunting. Just what he needed to settle himself down. 109 finish. And takes the darts away from Platt. Bunting means business in Sydney, it looks like, doesn't it? For the moment the second one went in, you knew what was going to happen. Brilliant darts. Yeah, David Platt, effectively, was the man who ended Rod Harrington's career. That's why Rod's been a bit shy about it. The last man to beat you in a TV major, correct?
Yes, he was, yes, in the UK Open in Bolton many, many years ago. And I didn't throw a dart after that day, I'm afraid, but it wasn't him who ruined my career, Stuart. I think it was the knife of a surgeon in the knees that didn't help. But a long time ago, and well forgotten, to be quite honest.
A typical darts player, though, with excuses. So a knee injury cost you, did it?
Of course. It wouldn't be a proper sportsman without a proper excuse. But a good start for Stephen Bunting. Good 15 dart first leg. That will settle him down, especially hitting the double cleanly. But his game has been 2 or 3 really good legs, and then he goes off the boil a bit and lets his opponent back in. So, be interesting. He said he made the final here last year, so he's going to be feeling confident that he's lucky in this town.
Brilliant dart from Platt. Really good thinking. Look at that to leave a finish. So a bit of pressure on Bunting. That's okay.
I was just about to say this will go nearer double top than it will the treble 20. He had to get out of the way of the flight of the darts. So now Platt just missing a bit of consistency here with the odd darts, and it's very hard to beat the professionals if you're not going to use all 3 darts and the big scoring numbers. So Bunting comes back. This will be for a 13 dart leg.
A 2-4 the shot. Well thought out. Good dart from Bunting. 2 up and looking very comfortable. Well, of course, Bunting made his World Series debut in Sydney 12 months ago. He got to the final, lost to Taylor, but you may remember that Bunting had darts to win.
100.
the first 7 legs of the match. Missed doubles and missed his chance. He still rates his best performance and biggest win in the PDC as we just pause for David Platt. Getting back into this match. Brilliant darts. His first 180 was when he beat Phil Taylor at the European Championship. Nearly hit a 9-darter in that as well. He rates that as his arguably the best performance of his career, he said. But you know, Bunting, we talked about him having a point to prove. Just looking through the stats a little while ago. Well done, David Platt. 6 brilliant darts from Platt. But Bunting hasn't won a tournament in 18 months. You may remember he won a tournament his first weekend in the PDC after he'd won the Lakeside World Championship. But he hasn't won anything in 18 months, which is quite a surprise. So he knows he's got to take it up a notch or two.
Yes, he has. I mean, he's lost his consistency. I witnessed that first win, and that kind of said that he's on the scene, but consistency is what you need. Leg on leg pressure, we call it. That's why Phil Taylor's been so good. That's why now Michael is there, Gary Anderson. Adrian Lewis has lost that little bit of pressure, but 8 now for Platt. Needs to take this out. That's another chance, and it's ironic that in the first game of the night, Cody Harris missed 5 darts of the double to win leg 3, and now David Platt's missed 2, and is he going to be made to pay for those 2 missed darts?
Game shot and third leg.
Well, 109 checkout, 110 checkout.
Game on.
It's as if he's been champing at the bit, Stephen Bunting, since he lost on the opening night in Perth when he was beaten by Kyle Anderson. He had a match dart in the deciding leg of that game, but it's as if he's been counting down the days.
37.
Yeah, if you fancy coming, you're in the area, Sydney, on Friday and Saturday for the quarterfinals, semi-finals and final. Still tickets available. Yeah, but Bunting, he knows he has to perform. And so far, so good for the St Helens star.
Well, at the moment, Stephen Bunting over the 102 and 75% on his doubles, which is exceptional. Scoring and percentage on doubles. There we have it. He's up to 104 now. And if he keeps this up, it'll settle the nerves down, that's for sure, because I can assure you that he's come into this with plenty on his shoulders. He's a big lad. Pressure gets to you. It doesn't matter how big you are. Well, he's set it up perfectly after 12 darts to take leg 4 as well. He really is taking the game to David Platt. Let's not forget Platt played on the Pro Tour in England for a good few years, on the PDC Tour.
Played in a couple of World Championship at the Circus Tavern back in the day. Ruthless from Bunting so far. Determined. There'll be no slip-ups in Sydney.
Yeah, 4 out of 6 on the doubles is exceptional for the Bullet. He certainly has found his rhythm. Certainly has found his rhythm. That's the second 180 of this match for Stephen Bunting, and he really is taking the game to David Platt.
Well, there's not a lot that Platt could do about this. His 4th World Series appearance. Played in Sydney here a couple of years ago, lost to Wes Newton, and then the luck of the draw deserted him in Perth. In the last 2 years, been drawn against Taylor and Van Gerwen. When the draw was made, bear in mind what happened to Bunting in Perth. He'd have thought, I've got a chance here. But this is clinical from Bunting. much more like it.
You can see there as well how far Stevens stands to the right of the oche. He's literally, his toes are on the right outside of it.
78.
And of course, when he's already set himself before David's come back, David's got to be walking in between Russ Bray, our caller, and Stephen. And sometimes a little bit of gamesmanship could come in and just brush his arm. As we see David walk back there, look, Stephen is ready to throw his first dart. If he gets there any quicker...
In your day, you'd be tempted to nudge his elbow. You wouldn't be able to help yourself.
No, it's just that I'm wider than David, so I needed more space.
To get a leg on the board. 17 for tops. Deserved that. He's done okay. But Bunting, total control, 4-1 in front.
Well, David Platt, leg 3 again, like the first game between Barneveld and Cody Harris. Platt had 2 darts at a double and a chance for the qualifier. And if you take that back, and he's only 3-2 down, he is in this game. What he's allowed Stephen Bunting to do is get very comfortable. Still on the 100 average. He seems to have found his range a little bit better. The first dart, it's the most important dart you're going to throw. If it isn't in the treble 20, it's got to be in the right position on the board in relevance to how your dart goes in the board, where it kicks up, lays down, or goes in horizontal. It's all about that first dart. In the early legs, he was pitching it at least an inch above, but now he seems to be getting a better range.
Talking of which, how about that from Bunting? 139 to leave the finish.
44. Steving to require 170.
Into the treble 5, I think.
95.
It's okay. No pressure from Platt here. David Platt and Loz Ryder, who we'll see a little later on. First and second at the top of the Australian Grand Prix Order of Merit. The winner of which qualifies for the World Championship. Platt trails Ryder by 4 points with 3 events to go. So that's Platt's priority. Bunting's priority is to get through to the quarter-finals here in Sydney. He's doing a pretty good job of it.
Yes, he certainly is. Another 14 dart leg from Stephen Bunting, and this is good a performance, consistency-wise, leg on leg, as we've seen for a long time. He's been pretty good over the 100 average for the whole part of the game, and it looks like he's not going to let up. Stem had just come loose in the barrel there, just making sure it was tight.
102 average. But the other thing I've noticed about Bunting's performance here, he really looks focused.
58.
You touched on it earlier on, that it's the inconsistencies that have been consistent in Bunting's game, but he really looks focused and in the zone here. And it will hurt him,
60.
you know, the fact that he hasn't won a tournament for 18 months. And a World Championship quarter-final, great run at the Alexandra Palace, but he craves being in the winner's circle. And why wouldn't he? He's a former world champion.
Well, there we have the stats, 2 180s to 1, 4 140s. I would expect Stephen, with the average he's got, to have had more 140s than that, although he has had a couple of 139s and 137s, so that's where he's kept scoring power up. So now 6 darts from 180 for a nice, comfortable win for the Bullet. And he can walk back in the players' room and say, good night, gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Yeah, 5 out of 7. Look at that. That's what's really been impressive for Bunting. Fabulous finishing.
99.
So can he win it?
Steving to
Here
require
and now.
85.
Bullseye.
60.
Well, he should be
They
back.
require 158.
Well, David Platt will just have to pack his suitcase and head to Auckland and hope that it's third time lucky in this World Series for him.
55. Stadium required
Next
25.
week. Double 8. To round off a really good performance from Stephen Bunting. A 99 average, 60% on the finishing. No mistake from Bunting this time as he cruises into the quarterfinals here in Sydney.